You know what's crazy?
Don't tell me you don't have the sneakers app.
I did not delete it. I have too much shit on my phone, so I had to sacrifice some things. Unfortunately.
But the sneakers app? Like,
I'm trying to be a good person. I'm not gonna say good person, but more responsible and cut down on sneakers.
I'm on a J. Cole beat, it's an Asia J, and you know I'm coming with the heat. 1997 is the year that I came alive, and ever since it's been good laughs and great vibes. It happens here and there, Dr. C's rhymes in your ear, rhyming, rapping off the dome, taking over this Jordan year, keeping it short and sweet. Like LOL, God's the savior of my life, so I'm never going to hell.
What's up, guys? As I said, I'm here with one of my friends.
How y'all doing? I'm Brandon.
All right, and we're definitely just gonna get into this. So, Brandon, what are generational curses to you?
Well, when I think of generational curses, I think of repetition and history repeating itself.
Yeah.
I think of what we're accustomed to from a child and transitioning into, your teenage years and adulthood. We can use children as an example. Children, especially like at young ages, tend to soak up a lot of what they see.
Yeah.
And become a product of their environment and what they're used to seeing on a daily basis. So when I think of generational curse, I think of what you're accustomed to, what you're taught, especially from those who you trust most. Your parents or your parent. I think that's what embodies a generational curse. The curse is what you see and what you take from it, and you repeat that and think that that's the way to do things.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it's something that's like engraved into you. And being that it's engraved to you, it's basically like, oh, that's all I know.
Right.
And it does get passed down like from generation to generation. I could definitely say like, I don't know, this is just like my personal opinion, but I definitely feel like us as African Americans experience the generational curse the most.
I agree definitely. I mean, it's definitely something I've seen firsthand growing up. It's something that we see that's portrayed in movies.
Yeah.
I mean, it's everywhere around us. Even from something as innocent as cartoons, like there's always something that's linked to a generational curse when it comes to including us as blacks. Like they always link blacks and generational. Some type of form of generational curse. Like I said, in the media, definitely television.
Yeah, it definitely does come off like that, especially like when they try to use the label of, oh, that's just a stereotype to cover up generational curses.
Right.
Like, I know they have a big stereotype of, for black women, is that a lot of us are loud, ghetto, and hard to manage. And that's why, like, most people go for the lighter skin tone woman, or even men, like the lighter skin tone one are the most like easiest to deal with.
I agree. Just to piggyback off of that, like once again, that's something that I see. Even with as silly as it sounds, the light skin versus dark skin that we see all the time, and I just feel like all of this is. I just feel like it breaks us down as a family, us as blacks. It definitely deteriorates us, just looking out for one another, working together. And I just wish more people could take the time and really sit back and, look at the big picture.
Yeah.
Stop being so minute, because when you're so closed-minded, you can only see for so far, and that doesn't help in the long run.
It doesn't. It just keeps you in that same thought pattern of this is okay.
Right.
I could treat people this certain way because I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I've dealt with somebody of our skin tone say one day that, we shouldn't be upset when people disrespect us because we've been disrespected for so many years. So for them, disrespect was okay.
Right.
And I'm nah, I understand that's how it was.
Right.
But it's we're in a new generation now.
Right.
We're in a new living environment now. Things aren't back when our ancestors were growing up and they had to work in the fields or go by certain names or do certain things. It's we're in a different space, and being that we're in that space, we need to evolve for the space that we're in.
Most definitely. That just goes to show you that, people are conditioned, sadly are conditioned to think that way, and it's not healthy at all. It's definitely not healthy to think like that, and then for you to be that person that somebody else looks up to, because, if somebody looks up to you, they're gonna follow your tracks. And modern times, things have definitely changed a lot. Still dealing with a lot of,
Bullshit.
definitely a lot of bullshit, a lot of racism, but
Yeah.
it's a new day and age, and people deserve some respect on their names, respect on their opinions.
Yeah. Hitting on racism, I feel like racism is that generational curse that's passed down for everybody. It's for us, we get the shorthand of the stick of it, but then you have others who they see it and they're just something needs to change. Right. And it's they always come out with one person can change everything, but it's we had that one person trying to change everything, he got shot down.
Yeah. One person honestly can only do so much. Nobody's a superhero. Where power comes in is when everybody bands together, but everybody has to have that same mindset, or close to the same mindset. Everybody has to be at least on the same page or close to the same page in order for real change to happen. Because like I said, one person can only do so much. One person has the power to make change, but to make the ultimate change, it takes, I believe, a family of people with like-minded ideas, and everybody working towards that one goal. So,
going into parenting, I know that there's this TikTok family that I watch, and each day I just watching her TikToks, it shows how for her raising her kids, she's trying to break those generational curses, those generational curses of just how our parents parent us,
Right.
When we get in trouble, have you ever had your parents when you were younger? And I don't know if you remember much from when you were younger, but have you ever had your parents when you were younger and you did something, ask, what's wrong with you?
Here and there.
Yeah. And then it's
I had a couple of those.
yeah, and it gets to a point to where as a kid, you really be sitting back and thinking oh my God, what is wrong with me?
Right.
Yeah.
It'll click eventually. Yeah. 7 enough times.
I feel that's one big thing, just in the parenting realm that we face. And I know, I don't have kids. I have nieces and nephews. And I know that on multiple occasions I've tried to stop myself from asking the question of what's wrong with you, or like why are you even doing that, or what would make you think that's okay.
Right.
Because it's like, as a kid, like when you do something in the moment, and now it depends on what you're doing, right? Like if I see like, I was adventurous as a child. There used to be this creek in the back of our neighborhood that my dad used to tell us, like, don't go near that water.
Right.
Like, don't be playing back there. And the creek led into like this huge manhole, right? But I remember there was one day I was playing in the creek, like I was playing by the creek, and like for me as a kid, I'm like, this was pretty short. I could jump over this. Like I could jump over this without getting wet, without getting in the water. And then it's like, boom, you think it's okay, you think that you could do it. Then you end up in the water and you be looking like, damn. Yeah, it's like things like that where if the question was asked different, or if the situation was approached differently, me personally, I feel like with parenting that a lot of the anxieties that teenagers and young adults have, they probably wouldn't have had if just certain situations were approached differently. And with that, I do feel like the non-managing of trying to stop generational curses is what causes a lot of those mental health issues.
Right.
Yeah.
I definitely agree. I think approach is big. It's scary to think like how something simple as an approach can be. The constant approach to it that can have a long lasting effect. Yeah, that's really crazy. But yeah, I agree with all of that. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
And even back to the children, the child, the example you gave. Normally, children are adventurous. They don't listen. They don't know much, and they want to do what they want to do.
Right. They think
sometimes you have to have them figure it out and you have to have a little. Sometimes they have to get all scraped up to learn. Because sometimes words aren't enough.
Yeah.
But approach also is definitely a big factor in how you approach. You don't want to approach the wrong way and do it constantly, condition your kid to now be closed off and hey, I'm scared to do this now because I'm scared this might happen. And, I feel like that also blocks off their potential to be the greatest of them.
Because it's like, without knowing it, I know, because my mom said that she tries not to do it on us, but like without knowing it, I know that sometimes parents do push their fears onto their kids. Just by saying certain things like, oh no, don't do that, you could get hurt. Instead of having them be able to like experience it and do it, and like saying something on the lines of, hey, I know that you want to do this, I just want you to be careful because there is a possibility that you might get hurt.
Right.
Instead of just saying like no, or like because I said so,
Give them an explanation.
Yeah.
I
feel like we're on the same page with that.
Yeah, definitely making a good point.
Yeah, like, you go.
Alright, cool. But definitely like explanation and talking to your kids, that's a powerful thing. As opposed to just a short, stop it, don't do that. Like, it's good to talk to your kids or your child and, build these relationships with them.
Yeah.
And, it opens up their mind and it helps them understand better. Not to say that they're going to completely stop being a child. They're going to still do shit and fuck up.
Yeah.
But
they're still going to do some childish shit.
Right. But overall, it's still healthy. To talk with them and give them a little more explanation. And, even give them examples of, why you're telling them to stop. You know, maybe you've done it in the past, and you can give them a story of how you fucked up and you learned from that. You know, it happened with me. You know, I could remember back when I was remember the little what they call like Tonka trucks. They're
The little
like
trucks that like.
they're like big. Nah, they're like oversized Hot Wheel cars. They used to call them Tonka trucks, but
Oh, the electric cars.
not electric. But they have wheels and you just push them. They're just big,
Okay.
like big.
I think I know.
You
The
probably
little,
know what I'm
wait,
talking
now
about.
the red. It got like a red bottom and a yellow roof.
Yeah,
It's like the
yeah.
Flintstone cars.
Similar.
All right, I got you.
So when I was younger back in New York,
Mm-hmm.
my parents' apartment, I used to push that shit on the floor. But I used to hold the top of both hands and like run down the fucking hallway with it. And my dad was like, Brandon, you need to stop. And I didn't listen. And what happened? I ran right into the wall and my forehead grew. And I learned.
That's not funny.
It's not funny at all. I bet you I fucking stopped.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, like, when growing up, I was like, and I feel like even now, sometimes,
Right.
I am the type of person to where it's like, nah, you don't have to let me experience this on my own, just
Right.
because I might have a different way of handling this differently to where I don't end up in the same position that you did. And if I mess up, then I mess up.
Right.
Yeah. I definitely feel like that. Like, I know that I feel like everybody deserves an explanation, you know? And I understand that, like, when you're a parent and you're dealing with a child, it's like sometimes you feel as though, like, I don't have to explain myself to you because I'm the adult and you're the child.
That's you.
But it's like, at the same time, I'm a human and you're a human. Right? So it's like, even though that's a child and there's a difference in age, that child does not that child can't read minds just like you can't read minds.
Right.
So they can't understand the reason why you're telling them that they can't do a certain thing or that they can't have a certain thing or that you want them to not do certain things. I know, like, with my niece, like, my sister, I'll be talking to my niece about something. Like, me and my niece go back and forth. And, like, my sister looks at it as, like, why are you going back and forth with a child?
Right.
But it's like, for me, it's like, I'm not necessarily going back and forth with her, but I'm telling her the reasonings of why I'm doing what I'm doing, so that way she can understand what she's doing and possibly correct that. Like, I understand that's not going to stop her from being a kid.
Right.
Like, a kid is going to get mad if you tell them no, they can't have a certain thing. Even if you give them a logical reason behind it. It's like, they can still get upset at the fact that you told them no, but at least they know why you told them no.
Right.
Instead of just, oh, she's being mean for no reason.
Right. I agree. I think what's most important is, you know, as adults, you have to understand that kids, they're missing the experience. Like, that's the thing. They don't have that experience. You know? So, you know, once again, like I said, explanation, you know, it's a big factor to me. I don't have kids, but I have nieces, and I've been in situations where, you know, I've watched my nieces and, you know, they were out being daredevils in the room, throwing themselves on the bed, jumping off shit.
Right.
And, you know, there's times where I did catch myself where I would be like, hey, stop it, don't give them an explanation. And then I would think, like, let me explain to them.
Yeah.
The consequences of what can happen if you don't.
Yeah.
If you don't listen. So.
Because I know, like, I've gotten to a point, like, I know, like, with me, when I do have kids, I want to be able to, like, break that generational curse.
Right.
I want to be able to have that healthy relationship with my child, because I'm not going to say that when I was younger, I didn't have a healthy relationship with my parents, but I know that when I was younger, I definitely did feel like I really couldn't, like, open up and talk and be myself with my parents, just for the simple fact of, like, it was like certain things had to be done a certain way. If you don't do it my way, it's a highway. It's like one of those, oh, I brought you into this world and I can take you out. And it's like, I don't want to get taken out for the wrong reason. Let me keep my mouth shut.
I've had plenty of those where it was like, you know, I felt like there was a boundary I couldn't cross, and that was expressing myself.
Yes.
You know, now that I'm older, expressing yourself isn't a form of being rude or disrespect.
Right.
But being a child, you know, I only knew so much, and to me, I was just more accustomed to don't do that.
Yeah.
I got some explanation, but it was more so, you know, don't do that, you know, and then that's that. So I felt like me expressing myself was a form of, you know, being rude as a child, and me not staying in a child's place.
Yeah, see, that's one thing I was talking to my dad about, like the term "stay in a child's place." What is a child's place?
Right. Like you said earlier, we're all human.
Yeah, we're all human. Like, what is a child's place? Because expression is part of being human. Now, I understand that there's a difference between expression and disrespect, but it's like, I feel as though a lot of parents, and I know that I've been in this position with my nieces and nephews as well, where I have taken expression as disrespect. Now, as I said, like, the child is gonna get mad if you don't let them get their way.
For sure.
And it's like, if you want to express to me that you're upset, I'd rather you express to me that you're upset with words. Like, look, Auntie, I know you said no, but I'm really upset that you said no. Like, why are you telling me no?
Right.
And then it's like, I can give you the explanation. But I feel like in that, the form where like parents take the form of me being upset and just expressing the fact that I'm mad, like if I walk around my arms crossed, that's a child expressing that they're upset. It's like at that moment, notice the fact that they're upset, and instead of telling them like, uncross your arms before I give you a reason to cross your arms.
Right.
It's like
it's funny you said that. I was engaged the other day, and a little girl was mad, and she had her arms crossed, like no bullshit. And her mom was like, "Oh, I assume that was her mother." She was like, "Unfold your arms, like do it now."
do it now.
But you know, if a little girl, she's allowed to be mad.
Yes.
I just feel like there's a thin line between expression and disrespect. Like, you can express yourself, but there's a way to do it. A lot of times it's not what you do, it's how you do things.
Right.
But this is why I feel like it's imperative to have conversations with your kids and your nieces, you know, or nephews, and develop this relationship to where they can start to understand the difference between expressing themselves, and I guess not be rude or disrespectful with it. I don't know if that's coming across right.
It is.
But yeah.
It's like, it's very vital to have that conversation to where it's like, it's okay to be upset. It's okay to want to just scream. But the moment you let it out is the moment that I need you to come to me so that way we can have a conversation. But you walking around, slamming doors, stomping your feet, talking back, it's like, that's when it comes down to the fact of like, okay, I understand you're upset, but that does not make it okay that you slam the door. I remember the one and only time I slammed the door in my mama's house because I was mad. Wore my ass out. And she ain't even with me. Like, she didn't even with me, I promise you. My mom was like, my mom said something, and I was like, I think I was like 7 or 8. I was in 3rd grade. And she was like, she told me no about something. And I was like, she was like, did you suck your teeth? I was like, no. Went in my room, boom, slammed the door. Within 5 seconds, she opened the door. She was like, "Come in the living room." I'm like, "All right." So I'm stumping through the house. She was like, "All right, you want to stump your feet? High knees." Wait, pause. Wait a minute. What you mean high knees? After that, it was do laps around the house. You know what? Chair position. You know what? Sit in a chair. Like my mom, she used to make us sit in the chair and like hold a book on our hands. And like I used to try to get over it. Like I picked the lightest book that we had. But it's the fact that like sitting in that chair holding that book felt heavy after a while. Yeah, I promise you, my mom worked my ass, and that was the last time I slammed the door.
I couldn't even imagine doing that. Like, I don't think. I actually have only one time I ever talked back to my mom. I said some real serious shit. Again, that was the last time I did that, but
yeah.
I was a pretty good kid for the most part, but when she left though, I'll be talking back.
Yeah.
When she was there, I'll stay quiet.
It's like that scene in Friday.
Right.
When he leave, I'll be talking again.
Right.
But nah, I definitely feel that. Like, I know we were talking about like the parenting part of generational curses, but like whether it's a generational curse from how you handle your nieces and nephews or even how you handle people, like what do you feel like would be the stepping stone to like trying to break that?
Honestly speaking, I feel like us as Black people, we tend to experience, how can I say, it's like with parents.
I hate dogs.
So I just feel like us as Black people, if you look at how, at least from my experience, you look at you compare parenting from different races. You have parenting with blacks, then you have the Caucasians, you have the Asians, so on and so forth. Other races are more, I don't want to say, other races are more easygoing.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Whereas, not to make blacks look bad, but it's more of, I feel like with us it's a little more rigid, and I feel like we should be a little more flexible in terms of having conversations.
Yeah.
As opposed to just being like this way or no way. And again, there has to be structure, with parenting. But I feel like in addition to that, having conversations with your children should be something that's incorporated and should be something that's valued, so that your children just feel comfortable to come to you. I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
No, I definitely feel it.
Like, generational curse. Also, just simply by leading by example. Just lead by example.
Yeah, I definitely feel like, for me, I feel like knowledge is power. I feel like if you are able to, like, logically sit there and point out the fact of, like, this is something that needs to be fixed,
right,
then you can start to make a game plan on how to fix it. And that's, like, for everybody. But as far as, like, parenting goes, I do realize that there is a little more flexibility when comparing, like, Black and Hispanic households to, like, Caucasian households. it's like, honestly, you can't say what goes on behind closed doors. But the way that society has painted it, it's like they paint it as in a Caucasian household, their kids just talk to them however they want. Where I don't necessarily feel like it's a I'm talking to you however I want. I feel like it's a this is how I express myself. But being that us as Black and Hispanics, we don't see that as expressing ourselves. We see it as disrespect. That's where it comes in at the fact of like, oh yeah, I would never let my child talk to me like that. But it's like if you don't open that door, like if you don't take the stepping stones to open it up, it's like that's something that from grandparent to parent to us that we're going to be passing down to our kids. And that's just going to be a line of, by the time 2032 comes, you'll still have a full bloodline of people who can't open up, people who don't really talk about feelings, don't really talk about certain things, just because they weren't given that doorway to do so when they were younger.
Totally agree. Well said, totally.
But yeah, I feel like that wraps it up in a nutshell.
Right. Good talk.
Thank you for being such a wonderful guest today. Thank you for having me. And I'll see y'all next week for True Talk Tuesdays with an AJ.
An Asia J is a vibe. Yeah. Tune into my channel, like, comment, and subscribe. Did you get that?